and welcome to another episode of Question and Answer. I am Kristen.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Jamie.
And today, yay, our very special agent guest is Jamie Didewick. She is one of our agents over at We Do Travel Right. And she's going to be talking to us all about river cruising, which I have to be honest, this is a topic I really know like nothing about.
Neither
I see
do I.
the commercials on TV to like sail down the Rhine River and like all of this. And I'm
My
like,
husband
that looks
worked on a river
amazing.
cruise for like a year and I still know nothing about it.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, that looks so cool. And then I'm like, I wouldn't even know where to start with that. But this is why you use an agent, because the common man does not know where to start with something like that.
No.
So, Jamie, before we like get into it, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been an agent? Where do you live?
Well, hello everyone. I'm Jamie, like they said. I live in Virginia, even though there's snow outside of my window right now for like the 5th time this year.
No thanks.
No, it's time to go on a cruise. So I have been an agent. Let's see, I started at We Do Travel Right as a brand new agent in May of 2022. So I'm coming on 3 years with you all, and it's been the best experience. And I am actually a full-time travel agent too. This is my full-time job, so I can dedicate a lot of time to your trips and research and all those fun things too. So I'm a huge fan of Disney, obviously, and Universal. But cruising.
Who's your favorite Disney character?
Favorite character is Rapunzel, because my technical business name is Best Day Ever Travel with Jamie.
I love that.
So she's my girl. But cruising has my heart just because oceans, rivers, we'll talk all about it. But with a cruise, there's no other vacation where you can unpack once and see so many different places without having to move your hotel and pack and repack and all that stuff and get a taste of all these different areas. And you can say, I want to go back and visit there more in depth down the road. So cruising is the best.
I love that. And we met on a cruise too. Like, got to actually spend time together and really learn about each other's lives in a small little quarter. Jamie was our roommate, and it was great.
The best. It was almost a year ago. We need to do it again. We're making plans.
We do.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Definitely need to.
I love it.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about like the basics of cruising and some companies? Like, give us the 101, like the 101 class.
As if we knew nothing about river cruising.
Talk to me like I'm 5.
Perfect. You got it. So ocean cruising, everyone's pretty familiar with. That's your Carnival, your Royal Caribbean, your Disney Cruise Line, all those major ones that sail out in the open ocean. And technically, like the Mediterranean Sea is an ocean cruise. So that's not the river cruise. So there's a big differentiation there. A river cruise is a much smaller boat. So it gives you a really intimate feel. They have, 200 or less guests typically. But you're also going down on, you don't have a lot of amenities on the ship too. You've got the ocean cruises that have the water slides and the big pools and all the things to entertain you on the ship. On a river cruise, the focus is the ports and where you're stopping. And so they're, just overall giving you a really relaxing voyage. If you are someone who's like, oh, cruise sounds so amazing, but I can't not see land, this is the thing for you, because you'll see land on both sides of the ship the entire time. Yeah. So you're like, you can swim to shore. Like if worst case scenario.
That's so weird.
It's so crazy. And I love a lot of the times they'll try to coordinate sailing, most of the time sailing at night. So you've got much more time in the ports. But during the day, they'll do some intentional cruising down the river. So envision this. There's a sun deck on the top of every river cruise. You're sitting on the sun deck. You've got a drink in your hand, maybe some snacks included. And, the castles of the Rhine River are sailing by. And you're just like, this is pretty incredible. And
that just gave me goosebumps.
And you're going at a really slow pace. You're not speeding through the ocean. You're not hitting waves. We're not talking, if you're motion sickness prone, you have no worries here, because
I need to go on a river cruise.
Yes. I mean, it's just a smooth sailing. For example, my mother will not get on an ocean ship, which I'm like, I could live on an ocean ship. But I have her booked on a river cruise for later this year, and she's so excited. So I'm like, you'll see land. There'll be no motion. And these ships are really purpose built for especially the big, like the Rhine and the Danube, where they have like a shallow hull and they're able to get through these lock systems in the rivers. So these ships are very much custom built for this type of vacation. Pretty incredible experience. So can't say enough good things. I can't wait to dive into it. So
wow. Okay, so I mean, you just explained a little bit, like, you know, what the difference was between like river cruising versus ocean cruising. But what is like the biggest difference besides the fact that you can see land? Because that's so bizarre to me. Like, you see land the whole time?
The whole time. And then a lot of times I do like extensions where, you know, a big popular cruise is down the Rhine River. So you start in Amsterdam and you end in Basel, Switzerland. And it's usually a one-way cruise too. So you can add on a land package at the beginning or the end, which you can do with ocean cruising too. But
That's
it's
so
like,
cool.
yeah, these tend to be, I would say, on the whole, a slightly upscale version. You've got upscale ocean cruise lines, you've got the Regents and the Seabourns and the Oceanas and all that stuff. But this is meant to give you a really curated experience to learn more about these ports. And then the other big thing with river cruising is because the ships are so small, you can dock at really small ports. So you're, you know, when you're going on an ocean cruise, you're stopping in Rome and Barcelona or Fort Lauderdale and the Caribbean, and these ports that are built for these huge, you know, 1,000-person plus cruise ships. But a river cruise, we've got such a small population on each ship. You know, like for example, Viking is the big one that we'll talk about too. They have 190 guests at the most. So you have like a 1-to-1 crew to passenger ratio.
With it being so small, does it feel cramped?
No, that's a good question too. And they purpose build them. So even the open spaces are not crowded. So you've got one restaurant. That's it. That's how everybody dines for dinner.
Wow.
And then they usually have like an open air kind of terrace for al fresco dining or breakfast or things like that. They have a lounge, they have a library, they'll do, you know, entertainment on board, a cocktail hour, smaller versions of entertainment, but it's never going to feel crowded. And every room has either a veranda or a French balcony. And then on some of the ships, you can have just kind of like a porthole transom window. And that's like a really, really good price point, like a really good entry level. They're called swan level. So imagine this, you're actually under the water line. So pretend this line is the water line. The windows are up here, so you can see the ducks and the swans swimming by your window. You're under the water a little bit, but it's such a good price point to get into river cruising.
I want to see duckies swim past my window.
Like that. So swan levels for you. So no, it never feels crowded. And like the nice thing is, you know, during the ports, pretty much everybody's getting off the ship because that's what you're going to want to do. And they have included excursions at every port on most of the cruise lines, or you can kind of pay for a more upscale or more in-depth experience. You know, like for example, on one of the cruises, you can go explore the Christmas markets, or you can have a dinner with monks in an abbey that's from so, you know, you choose your adventure a little bit. And that's the best part about this is like
wild.
It's so cool. It's so cool. And so you can kind of enter at a fairly low price point, and it can go up to a grand suite with everything included. But as with ocean cruising, river cruises include your meals, beers and wines at dinner, usually at meals included too. But a lot of these, they don't include alcohol the whole time because they know not everybody drinks and not everybody's going to want to pay for that. So you can add a pretty inexpensive alcohol package onto these too.
Goodness.
But my favorite part is like, so you wake up in the morning, you have your breakfast, they're already docked in the port, you get off the ship, and it's not like, okay, for everyone who's been on an ocean cruise, getting off the ship is a process sometimes, where it's like you're waiting and you're like scanning in and scanning out. And on these river cruises, you just kind of waltz off the ship at your leisure. You know, you kind of say hi and greet them and come back on the ship if you want to. And then at the end of the day, when your excursions are done, everybody hops on, they do like a sip and sail or a happy hour where they talk to you about what to expect the next day. So they're like, tomorrow we're docking in Salzburg. Here's the things you're going to want to check out while they're giving everybody cocktails and, you know, appetizers. And it's just an incredible,
that's so fun.
Like elevated experience. Like, you know, we're not doing the Aqua Mouse on the Viking cruise. But that's okay, because I'll do the Aqua Mouse, but then I'll go explore, you know, Strasbourg.
Yeah.
So it's just an incredible experience, and such a great way, especially Europe is probably 90% of the river cruises.
Yeah, of course.
But it's such a great way to see Europe in like a really comfortable environment. And a lot of these are kid friendly too. And believe it or not, you really can bring your kids on some, not all, of these river cruise lines and kind of experience Europe and get them a taste of Europe in like, a secure feeling environment. You're not just running around Europe with your kids. So.
Well, yeah, and see more than just like a city, like because you go to Paris and you're in Paris and that's where you are and that's that, which isn't bad. That's quite the experience. But, like you're saying, this is a way to do like see a lot more of Europe than, regularly.
And like in a less chaotic way, I would say. So.
And do you feel like there's enough time at the ports to actually see what you're going to see?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. I think there's never enough time.
Well,
no matter where you're going.
There's never enough time, but
when I went on a training cruise, we were in port for, Rome from like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's not enough time to see Rome, but
that's still a lot more than like an ocean port.
Yeah.
And so you can be in port for a longer period of day, and then you can usually fit in either a long excursion or 2 excursions per port. So it depends on what your energy levels are and your fitness levels are and, how much you want to see, what ports are more important to you, where I think you get enough time. But like I said, with a cruise, you're never going to get enough time. Like I've got 3 or 4 places that I'm like, I cannot wait to go back there.
Yeah.
You get a nice little taste of it.
Yeah,
exactly.
I can say I've been to 5 countries in Europe just from a cruise.
Right.
And it's so cool. Like there's some that I'm like, I don't need to go back there. Athens, we had a good day. We're good.
Good.
You don't need to step back there.
But Barcelona in the south of France, I'm coming for you. So
yeah. How long do these cruises, like, is it kind of, they're all in like the 7 to 10 day mark, or is it like you could do a 3-day, you could do a 2-week? Like how long are we talking here?
I've never seen a 3-day. I wish, because I would actually.
Like that's just not enough time.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely not enough time.
Maybe on some of the smaller lines that are, purpose built for maybe like European locals. I'd say the average is 7 nights, 8. They usually say like days, 8 days. And then 8 to 15 days is your sweet spot for these. Yeah. There are longer ones. There are some that go up to, I looked right before we jumped on, the longest is a 51-day cruise. That's a long.
Stop it right now.
What?
But if you think about it, there's ocean cruises that are 120, 150 days.
Yeah, true.
I could not.
I would be hard pressed to be on a riverboat for that long without some sort of like.
Yeah, that's like 6 weeks basically that you're on a ship, like you're living. Yeah, that's
right.
No, thank you.
I think the perfect starter is that 7-night, 8-day. Like that's just enough time. You can add on, a land package before or after. If you've got time to do a 15-day, that would hit, take you through the Rhine and usually cross over the Mon River onto the Danube. So you can hit 2 of the biggest rivers in a 15-day cruise. And that is extra awesome if you can swing the 2 weeks. So
wow, that's cool. Oh,
the shortest I've seen, I think I've seen a couple of 5 or 6 days. And I was like, oh,
but the thing is too, is like you're flying out to Europe for this. So it's like, I'm not going to fly to Europe for like
3 days.
You know what I mean? If I'm going to Europe, like I'm going to Europe and I'm going to spend like 2 weeks.
10 days to 2 weeks. Yeah.
10 days to 2 weeks. Like you're right. 8 would probably be like the minimum because
I think so.
Like you're making the trek, you're spending that money.
That first day
is like local or something, then that's different.
Right.
And this is a little segue, but I really want to mention too, a lot of the cruise lines that I work with do airfare packages. So right now Viking has like economy air. I've seen as low as $5.99 a person to Europe, which is insanely cheap.
That's wild.
For $4,300.
We need to go on a river cruise. We need content of this.
Yeah. Like, I think we go on one of these. Yes. Like that's where the 3 of us will go, and that's what we'll do because
so much fun.
This sounds incredible. Like I am convinced already that I need to go on a river cruise.
Yes, I speak French and Spanish, so like we're good. As long as we stay, like that, area. Like I'm good. I'm good.
Yes. Well, there's so many great itineraries. Like you just said, like Portugal has the Douro River. France has a ton of rivers. If you just want to do wine country, if you want to see, lots of sites, there's some that just go in this little tiny, what's it? This, not the Seine, but I can't remember which one it is in southern France. It goes to like the Burgundy area, and it's just a wine themed cruise.
That is so cool. Does Italy have any?
But getting over there is easy. And then with these airfare packages, like when I book these river cruises for my clients, I don't make them do the airfare, but I present it as a really good option because one, sometimes the prices are significantly less. And then the other thing is when you book your airfare through the cruise lines, they're going to guarantee getting you to the ship. So imagine this, like you book your airfare on your own and you're stuck in Amsterdam and then they've moved on and you have to get yourself there, which you do on an ocean cruise too, but that's even harder. So this way they'll actually bus you to the next port. So I had clients that flew on the CrowdStrike day in July of last year, and their flights were delayed and canceled, and they sailed on a Viking cruise. And Viking not only brought their lost bags later to the ship for them, no charge, but bused them right to the next port. They were still on the ship, 20 minutes away in the next port, and it was so seamless. And if they had done the airfare on their own, there would have been a lot more struggles, especially on that day.
Which cruises have you been on versus which ones have you booked?
I have not been on one yet.
Okay. We need to.
I have a younger daughter, and so I'm working on how long can I get away from her before it gets to be too much and sad. Well, I think we're at
we just need to add to a list of things to do.
Yes, this is a must do, or bring her, which is potentially the plan.
Bring her.
But the biggest two I book are Viking and Alma Waterways. I've booked. Oh my gosh, I should have counted before I came on here.
It's okay.
25 at least.
Wow.
And I just started booking these in January 2023, and we've booked a good bit of them so far. And so I feel really confident, and I know these lines super well. The next one I'm planning on learning is Avalon. They do some shorter cruises. They do a lot more themed cruises.
Okay.
There's Tauk is a really upscale one. Uniworld is another upscale one, but they do allow children on a lot of these. And there's one that I'm still learning more. It's called A Rosa. It's like a kid-friendly German line that I've quoted for somebody. But Viking is very strict. They're like, we're not for everyone. You have to be 18 to sail, so you cannot take your children.
That's the one we're going to take.
Some of my clients, they're like, I don't want to see a kid.
Especially if it's like a relaxing cruise and it's made to be relaxing.
Yeah. So I would like that. But I also will say that's another big difference between river and ocean. Ocean cruises, you've got a lot of families, especially, year round, certain times of year. River cruises, even on the kid-friendly lines, you're not going to see many children. And then some of them even have a minimum age of like 4 for Alma Waterways and things like that. So you're not going to have, we love them, but crying infants while you're enjoying your, string quartet at dinner.
Yeah, that is so cool. And I know we touched on this just a little bit, but what's included in the prices of the river cruise?
Yeah, so I think a lot's included. A lot of people look at the quote and get a little bit of sticker shock. But I want to do like a day-by-day breakdown of, a Viking versus a Disney cruise because it's going to be more similar than you'd think because it includes all your meals. Includes, specialty coffees, teas, sodas, waters, all that.
Disney Cruise Line doesn't include specialty coffees.
No, and we wish they did. If you're listening, I want my character latte.
Right. Can I have that included, please? Thank you.
Please. So they include all these things. And then, like I said, some lines include alcoholic beverages for 18 or 21 and up. What I love what Viking does, so they include beer and wine at lunch, dinner. We'll probably give you something at breakfast if you want it to. And then you can purchase what's called a Silver Spirits beverage package. It's $27 per person per day, and that's unlimited drinks. So that is a phenomenal price. Like you can have that in 2 drinks.
Yeah. Well, one drink
depending on where you are.
Really good drink done. So I think and then the nice thing too is kind of like Disney Cruise Line too, like if you purchase, a drink on board, it's still a lower price point than you would at a bar on land. Or something like that. So full service, toiletries. The floors are heated on the Viking River cruises because sometimes the water's cold. Depending on the
floors are heated?
And like the design of these ships is so intentional, not a square inch is wasted. And so everything is just so well laid out. The staterooms are smaller. They're, 220 square feet, sometimes less, sometimes a little bit more, but everything is so well done. All rooms are usually double occupancy. So on Viking, there's, no connected rooms, two-door room, or sometimes they'll do single supplements. But on Alma Waterways, they actually have some ships that have connecting staterooms. So they're purpose built for families, like the Adventures by Disney lines too.
Yeah.
So there's so much included. They include at least a shore excursion in every port that's included, which that is what really adds up on ocean cruises. You booked your cruise and then all of a sudden you're dropping $500 on a shore excursion for a family of 4 and you're like, what just happened? So these are all included. And then they also kind of elevate in the sense of they're going to give you some education and elevated talks about like, here's some of the history behind these ports. And then when they do these guided tours, they have this really cool headset where you can hear your tour guide, but you can kind of wander a good bit away and really kind of explore something yourself, but you can get back to the group as needed. So you can feel confident in doing some roaming, but still kind of hearing what's going on. And I
That's
really
awesome.
like that feature. And they give you that, in your stateroom too. So there's more.
Cool.
There's a lot included in these cruises. So
that's a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Man. Yeah. And you mentioned Adventures by Disney. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, how does
because everyone's always curious about that, but also don't really know what it is.
I know. I really
come with like a river cruise. Like, how do you?
Yeah, how does that intertwine? Yeah, right.
I love it. So interesting. I actually never heard of it. I'm a Disney junkie. I never heard of Adventures by Disney until I became an agent. And this is the top of the line, most immersive experience you can have. So I'll do like an Adventures by Disney bird's eye view, and then we'll drop down to like how it involves with river cruising. But Adventures by Disney are small group adventure trips led by, I want to say 2 cast members because they are, but they're adventure guides and they are there for storytelling and immersion. So they're not just going to be like, here's the Eiffel Tower. They're going to say, we're going to go have a macaron making class and then we're going to go have a meal in the Eiffel Tower while we're giving you a background about every history about this. It's like next level. White glove.
I'm a dork. That's like right up my alley.
Yes. Like you're just getting that Disney service, the Disney immersion, the Disney feel, the Disney storytelling, but there's no Mickey Mouse in your face either. So it's kind of the best of everything. It's like, Disney's known for that quality level of service. And these adventure guides are what make your trip. They're the best of the best. And they do special anecdotes. If, they see something special going on with this couple, they'll make a magic moment happen for them. And my favorite part, so if you've got kids on your Adventures by Disney trip, which some are adult exclusive, and then they'll take the junior adventures separately and do like a scavenger hunt in the Palace of Versailles, while they take the grown-ups to actually learn the boring stuff, if you will. And so you are actually getting to focus and pay attention and learn these things while your kids are like happily playing and stuff.
It's Versailles. Cool. Just no big deal. Whatever.
They do trips. They do a lot of land-based trips all over the globe. And they have a special one in Southern California where they take you to like, the Walt Disney Archives and, a special there.
That's cool.
But I'm looking at one too, like England and France, where you're going to go, speedboat ride in the River Thames, see the crown jewels, go on over to France, and then just have these incredible experiences that you couldn't do on your own. They call it privileged access, so they can get to these. But then they also host and take over entire ships on Alma Waterways. So they're in a partnership with Alma Waterways. So they're using these special ships that have the connected rooms. So your kids are not like, a room away. They're like essentially in your stateroom, and you're having these incredible experiences, but the ship is all Adventures by Disney guide. So you'll go out on the port and enjoy your day, and then they come back and they'll do a movie night and they'll show the kids a movie while you're enjoying cocktail hour. And it's like,
so cute.
It's the greatest thing ever.
Wait, I love that they like intertwined that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So it's, you're not just getting like a ragtag cruise. You're getting an established, Alma Waterways has been around since 2002. So you're getting an established cruise line with a top-notch captain, people who know what they're doing, but then you're getting that extra layer of the adventure guides giving you that special experience. So
that's so cool.
Amazing.
So that's kind of like a specialty cruise. Yes. What other specialty cruises are there? Because I know that there are some.
Good question. So
that sounds amazing.
Yes. So you can do some of the special one, like go sail the Rhine any time of year, basically from February to November. But then you've got some really specialty themed ones. Christmas markets is one of the most popular ones. So
I've always wanted to do a Christmas market.
Christmas market season technically starts the last week of November, really starts the first or second week of December. So I actually recommended my clients scoot. They were thinking late November and we scooted them to early December. So it's like, you're going to miss some of the markets if you go that early.
Yeah.
So these are visiting all the Christmas shops in France and Germany and all these incredible places. They usually say like bring an extra bag for shopping and just.
That's just our normal.
Yeah, that's just a good rule you have to have.
You should probably not do a Christmas market.
We are dangerous together when it comes to shopping.
And then we've got Oktoberfest. I mean, imagine going to all the
cool.
Say less, Oktoberfest. And that's usually September, October. We've got tulip season in Holland and Belgium where you've got the gorgeous tulips. Usually that's in April, which is amazing. And then some of the special themed cruises do like a wine themed cruise, and they bring a sommelier on board as your wine host. It's like an extra person who's just going to teach you all these things. Yeah, a beer cruise. Alma Waterways does like some, let's see, I'm trying to think of like a jazz cruise. I know Avalon actually has some music themed cruises. So
I'm shocked. I didn't know any of this.
None of it. So amazing. I know I'm forgetting some. But you can be like, oh, we love wine and we want to learn more about wine. So let's take this cruise in France with this amazing world famous sommelier and learn even more. And then on all of these cruises, you have a cruise manager or a cruise host. They all call them different things. And they're just like your concierge person that's there for you the entire voyage. You can be like, okay, we want to go to dinner on our own. Where do we go? And they'll say, here's how you get there and here's where you should go. And here's some options. And so they're just like that extra level of white glove service that's included already. Even if you're in the swan level room, that's the least expensive room, you get that concierge host, which is pretty awesome.
So cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. What are some of the dining options? You were talking about leaving the ship to eat, but what are some of the things like dining options on these ships? It's included.
Yep. So this is interesting. That varies. I'll go. The two biggest ones I know are Viking and Alma Waterways. Viking is pretty Scandinavian, slightly bare bones. They have the restaurant and they have the Aquavit Terrace, which I think sounds so cool. It's like kind of al fresco, a la carte dining. They have a full breakfast, a full lunch, full dinner, and it's like a nice dinner service, but it's like not black tie. It's like casual, upscale comfort. Like you're not wearing your t-shirt, but you're wearing like a nice dress or something.
Yeah, date night attire.
And then Alma Waterways actually has a lot more options. They have the chef's table is included for every guest. So it's guaranteed. You know how we're trying to like always get a Palo or right. Like really hard to get adult dining. Yeah. Nope. It's included and guaranteed. So when you walk on board, you can say, I'd like to go to the chef's table this night or this night. I'm going to call ahead. I have clients who are staying on the anniversary. So I'm going to call ahead and request the chef's table for that night for them. But you're guaranteed that. And you've got a few other different, restaurants on board. And then Alma Waterways kind of has we'll say they tend to be about $1,000 to $2,000 more than Viking consistently, but they have a pool, like a little dip pool on board. They have cycle bikes in the back. So imagine running down the river, like cycling and enjoying the sights. One of the ships actually has a pickleball court on the sun deck. So fun. What? And Alma Waterways actually has a spa and a salon and a fitness center on board too.
How are they cramming so much on these ships that fit on a river? And I know like the rivers in Europe are large, but like...
Yeah, but still, it's like 200 people.
Yeah, like it's not like an ocean liner, and it's fitting spas and a little pool. And
yeah. And back to the dining real quick, for the food, is it like, does the food change every day or it does change every day?
And they tend to kind of, as best they can, pull in local ingredients. So when you're in,
cool.
Say you're in not Norway, but like Amsterdam or something, they're going to pull in some local flavors and kind of, have the menu reflect where you are. But then they also have like, your standard options. You could be a picky eater in your 60s.
Chicken fingers, pizza, hamburger.
Well, especially if you have kids, you know what I mean? Like my kids are not going to want to eat like authentic, Danish cuisine or, you know what I mean? Like Dutch cuisine.
I can't even imagine them doing that.
Yeah, they're going to like turn their nose up at that. So like we're going to need some macaroni and cheese up in here.
Yeah.
And they'll probably accommodate you too.
Some chicken tenders.
You know,
take my kids all the way to Europe, and they're like, "I will have the chicken tendies, please."
Yes, this is one of the things holding me back from going to France. I'm like, what is she gonna eat?
Yeah,
cheese. So
yeah, exactly. Bread and cheese. That's what my children would eat. Yep.
Exactly. So the dining is awesome. And then, you know, if you're hungry, they can bring you something to your room or something. Like, I don't know about room service, but I think it's something's available for you to snack on. You're not going to.
That's awesome.
But there's a good variety too.
I love that. And cool. Then what are some of the unique itineraries? So I know that we talked about, you know, doing both rivers in one for the 15-day. Like, how does that all work?
Oh, that's a good question. So you have to kind of go through the different, you know, a lot of the cruises and all the rivers in Europe are connected. So it is actually, you can get from the Rhine to the Danube through the lock system. But there's other specialty places. You can sail the Mekong River in Cambodia and Southeast Asia. You can do the Nile River. This is an incredible experience.
It's wild.
Yeah, to do the Nile would be amazing. I talked about Portugal has the Douro River, which is like a really small river, but then that also opens up access to go to a land extension in Spain and, you know, go to Madrid or Barcelona or something like that.
That is so cool.
I'm trying to think of what other specialty ones, like the Mississippi, which I don't think I would put that high on my list, but that's an option for you. But then, good segue, Viking actually does way more than rivers. They do ocean cruises, and their ocean ships are 900 passengers, which is very small in the world of ocean cruising. So they're able to get into those smaller ports. You know, I've got clients going to Venice, and it's very hard to dock in Venice, but they're actually docking only about 20 miles south, which is really close. Other ocean ships could not get that close.
Wow.
So you're able to do that. And then Viking does something else really cool called the Expedition Line. And this is like bucket list stuff. This is a cruise that sails to the Arctic and the Antarctic. So if you want to go see those penguins, you can go dock in Ushuaia and take a ship to Antarctica and sail around that too.
Okay,
and
do
then
they ever have a problem with whales bumping into the ship?
Not that I've heard.
I love how that's like a legitimate Jessie question. She's like,
good one. But they did a crazy thing. One of the Viking ships actually did an ice landing, so they can cut the ice. And so we're not talking Titanic here. We're talking about like actually safe exploration of the Antarctic. And so this is so cool. But they have one itinerary that I think is like a really accessible one. You know, if you're like, I don't know if I can do that. Viking will do something that kind of sails the Great Lakes in their expedition ship. So you can kind of shoot up to like the Arctic if you want, or you can just stick to the Great Lakes. And that's a really easy way to kind of, you know, fly a quick domestic flight to Milwaukee or Toronto, international to Toronto, and explore the Great Lakes and get a good taste of like the Viking experience before going all the way to Europe too.
That is so cool.
So cool.
I mean, honestly, like I'd probably just like jump to Europe.
I recommend it.
Yeah.
And a first timer. So if someone comes to me and they're like, oh, I want to do this, like you guys, I would say the best starter cruise is the 7-night Rhine. You know, you're going to see Amsterdam. You're going to go through a little bit of France, Switzerland, Germany is a big part of it. I'm missing one other country. And you're going to get to see it like a good taste. And then I would say Danube would be my second choice. You're going to go through like Vienna and Budapest and all these amazing cities too. Those are your good like starter intro. But then when you get kind of into it, because Viking and Alma Waterways get multi-repeat customers, incredibly high. And so then you start venturing off into the Rhine and the Moselle and the Seine and all these amazing rivers that can open up the whole rest of the world for you. So it's pretty cool.
My God.
That's amazing. Does the Seine one it's in Paris, right? It comes down and it's just like you're on a boat on the
there's the Eiffel
Tower. There's the Eiffel Tower. Like here I am. Yeah, that's wild.
And the cool thing, Adventures by Disney actually sets it up in such a way where you can do one of the Adventures by Disney like escape, like land escape in Paris, then hop on the ship and sail the Seine down from Paris. And I think they do round trip actually. So you're getting a river cruise and a land cruise all in one under the Adventures by Disney like umbrella. And they're going to just handle everything.
Wait, okay. I have another question because you said round trip. So like if you're getting on the boat, let's say in Paris or wherever, like, are you getting off in Paris too? Like, is it a round trip or like, do they drop you off in Germany somewhere and you're like, okay, got to get back to the United States? Like,
it's actually more common to not be round trip.
Wow.
The round trip ones are rare. Yep. So it's real. And that's why, like I said, doing the flights through Viking or on the waterways or one of these major cruise lines,
right?
That like stress away. You've got, I've got family members flying to Amsterdam. And here's another tip I usually recommend, giving away the farm here, but you can usually get a direct flight from the US to Amsterdam, but this cruise ends in Basel, Switzerland, which you cannot get a direct flight from the US. So when you're starting your trip, I always have them start in Amsterdam. So we're starting off on a direct flight, minimizing jet lag, minimizing baggage loss, hopefully, and starting there. And then you're going to have a connection on the way home, more than likely, but at least it's the end of your trip. So if you lose a bag, or a bag is delayed, it's not going to kill
home.
Your trip.
Right, you're going home.
And you're just going to have to deal with it when you get home. So they make those logistics so easy. And then when you book your airfare through them, all the transfers are included. So you're just landing at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport and like, how do I get to the ship? Well, there's the representative, the cruise ship representative right there with your name on it, taking you on a motor coach right to the ship, white glove service the whole way. So it's like the most stress-free.
Yeah.
Planning a trip to Europe, a land-based trip, is really, there's a lot of logistics, and that's why you need a good agent to know these things. But a cruise takes away all that stress too.
Well, and the language too. I had a 8-hour layover one time at that Schiphol airport, Amsterdam, and it's like I couldn't tell. Like I don't know where I'm going. I don't speak Dutch. Like I don't.
Dutch.
You're like I
can't help you if it's not a romance language. Like I cannot. I can figure out a romance language, but like. Your girl took Latin in high school, but like that's where I draw the line. Like no. So it's like taking that fear away, taking that like unnecessary stress of being like, I'm going to land in this airport, but I don't know the signage. Like, and yes, they do have English places, but again, like not everybody speaks English. Like it's, so like taking that stress away, especially if you're traveling with kids, like I don't want to get lost with my kids and you're in like a European airport. Like, no. So like that's amazing to have that, like the transfer, and they have it, and you just, that's a vacation when you don't have to worry.
That's a vacation, right? Thank you. That's a vacation because you don't want to come back from your vacation being like, I'm exhausted. And these are, they're intense. You can make them as intense as you want to be, but you're going to be walking these cobblestone streets up hills and hiking a little bit. So you want to be prepared for that. But also they're very good about saying like, this is an intense excursion. This is a mild excursion.
Yeah.
This is going to bus you through the town, or this is going to be a hike or a bike ride through the forest, like it's incredible. And so you can kind of cherry pick and you work with me to figure out like, okay, what excursion is going to be the best fit for me and my family and my comfort level and all that stuff. And that's where we got you covered. So.
And I have one last question for you, Jamie. If you had advice for someone that was looking into a first-time cruise, for whether it's river cruising, regular cruising, they have so many questions, where do you guide them?
Well, first of all, you come to us.
Yes, obviously. You're the one guiding.
Yes. And we, cruises, that's a great question because cruises, there's thousands.
So
and
many.
It's so hard to narrow it down. So coming to an agent, we'll kind of talk to you, be like, what do you want out of your vacation? What are your hopes and your goals? And, what's your budget? Where do you want to see? Where have you been? Where have you not? And it's hard to narrow it down. River cruising and ocean cruising are so similar, but so different. So you kind of know, like river cruising tends to skew to like a slightly older crowd. So if you've got, your 5 and your 8-year-old, they're just like, we want to do the go-kart track on the Norwegian cruise line. Then, maybe we don't do river cruising just yet. Don't do that. It's fine. But, maybe you've got some teenagers who are studying French and they're like, I would really like to go see it. And you've got the means, let's do it and get them immersed and really experience the culture and open their eyes up to it. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of figure out what's the good fit. But like I said, the good starter cruise is the Rhine. Good ocean starter cruise is the Caribbean, maybe the Western Caribbean. So it's not as rocky as the Eastern Caribbean. And we know these things as travel agents. We know what ships are good fits, what itineraries are good fits, what's going to be a good fit for you. So
yes. And I can confirm this because Jamie booked my Disney cruise this summer. And I was like, I want to be on the side of the boat that is XYZ. And she's like, yes, I got that. Okay. I want to be in this. Like, she was like, yes, I'm on it. So can confirm, accurate, 10 out of 10, recommend.
Thank you. I love it. You're my best client.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, that's what an agent is. And, you know, I know you all heard this, but it's so important that we don't charge you for this too. Like, you're not paying for this extra hand that's going to hold you
100% free
through the process and just be there for you. And like, I just text my clients and I hype them up. I'm like, you got 50 days to go. I can't wait. And we're just there to really help you through this whole process, as much or as little as you want us to be. If you're like, Jamie, I got this, I'll be like, I'll see you in final payment.
You're like, okay, bye.
And that's okay. So we're here to help you with this, and we can figure out what cruise line's the best too, because there's
that's awesome. Well, Jamie, thank you so much for coming on with us. We had a blast. I learned so much more than I ever thought I was going to learn.
Yeah, and I have like a bunch of new stuff on my bucket list. So my husband will be reaching out, angry that now I'm going to spend more money on
river cruising.
Yeah,
river cruising.
Much.
Yeah, he's going to really be excited for the conversation.
It is. It's so worth it. It is.
Yeah,
so
it's gonna be like so.
You get a lot for your money. Yep.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. And yeah, I'm a huge dork. So like,
yes.
History. Plot me in the middle of a European country. Let's do it. I'll figure it out. Let's go.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. We will put Jamie's information down at the bottom. Go check her profile out, book with her. We'll tag her link in there, her website in there, as well as her Instagram. So please, please, please go and give her some love. Jamie, thank you so much for joining us today. And we love you guys. Follow and subscribe. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.